الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له عليه توكلنا إليه أنبنا إليه المصير خصنا بخير كتاب أنزل وخير نبي أرسل وخير منهاج شرع فقال عز من قائل اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا ونشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم اللهم أحينا على سنته وأمتنا على ملته واحشرنا مع زمرته يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون O you who believe, fear Allah as you should and are not accept as Muslims. أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل بدعة ضلالة. Truly the best of the words is the book of Allah and the best of the guidance is the guidance of the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام and the worst of the matters are the false innovations in the religion isn't any such thing as a misguidance. My brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Baqarah وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا And so we have made you into a balanced nation. Balanced at the level of the individual as well as the level of the community. Balance in the belief, balance in the practice, balance physically, intellectually, and spiritually in all aspects. And this is key. This is key to having or to leading a harmonious and a happy life. You know, just like if a person wants to be healthy, The diet has to be balanced. That takes the different essential elements into account. Otherwise, the person will become sick. So it's going to come back and hit me in the face. And the same thing when we're talking about living a balanced life. We're talking about the key or the definition to balanced life is Hadith Abu Darda to Salman al-Farisi in Sahih Bukhari. When he said to him that your body has a right upon you. Yourself, your soul has a right upon you. Your family has a right upon you. Give each their due right. إن لجسدك عليك حقا إن لنفسك عليك حقا إن لأهلك عليك حقا فآتي كل ذي حق حقه. That give each their due rights. And this is really the key in here. When we're talking about balance, I'm not just talking about balance in fulfilling the obligations to the outside, but balance also within for us as individuals. You know, as human beings, the way Allah created us, we're made out of two main components, you can say. There's the body and there's the soul. So there's the physical and there's the spiritual. And if a person wants to have a balanced and a happy and harmonious life, then he has to meet the requirements of both, which is sometimes not easy, by the way. It is easy to go to one extreme or to the other. Now today, especially the common mindset focuses mostly on the physical. In other words, you know, the way the person looks, his possessions, the places that they go to, the different things that they own. And this all feeds the physical. In other words, this is probably the clay element of ourselves. This is just the physical. And in the process, the spiritual is starving. So we feel miserable. So what's the advice that people give you when you feel miserable? Go on a vacation. Buy things. In other words, feed the body more. So the soul is still actually starving. So the problem is still existent and it gets aggravated more and more. And this happens especially actually in times where you have a pressure, you know, socially and politically. We tend to act in one way, forgetting the others. So we tend to do certain things which we're required to do. Political activism, social activism, work in here, which are really essential. I'm not denying that or dismissing that. But in the process, we forget something which is more important, which is the heart. That's why I think the question to ask ourselves, that each one of us has to ask ourselves, especially those that are involved with any form of Islamic work, whether in the masjid, whether in any organization, whether any group, whether political activism or anything else, how does your heart look like? What is your heart like? Are you happy? What is your soul? Are you close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or is this missing? You know, this is something that nobody can answer. This is something we have to answer honestly and sincerely if we're really looking to achieve our best. And sometimes this is really what gets left behind, you know, largely. Even, by the way, sometimes when raising the kids, this element is neglected. So we'll find the parents, like I mentioned in my earlier khutbah about significance, going out of their ways to take their kids into some soccer practice, which is good. I'm not dismissing that. Or, for example, staying in school for after-school program, or feeding them something, buying them nice clothes, you know, making sure that their health is really good, which is really essential. Neglecting that will take us to the other extreme. So what I mentioned earlier is really important, but sometimes this is where everything stops. So we may go out of our ways to take them into some sports activity, but we neglect bringing them to the masjid. Or we find excuses for not bringing them to the masjid. Now the question is, which is going to help them more in their life? That hour of soccer practice or that hour with the Quran? I mean, let's be honest. Which one? Of course, the other one may bring like immediate gratification and nice and sweating and the different hormones pumping up and all of that. But which one is going to benefit them more in their life and in the hereafter? Is it 1 hour with sports activities or 1 hour with the Quran? Again, I'm not dismissing the sports altogether, but the key here is وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. The key is the balance, to make sure that both are taken into account. Otherwise, we'll be the first one to suffer. So this is the question to ask ourselves. You know, a lot of the time, when I visit different campuses with some of the students, you'll find that the question or the things that most people, well, even the grown-up, by the way, this is not a khutbah for the youth. It's for everybody. Myself first, by the way. I'm not above what I'm talking about. That the one thing that everybody will say will change their life for the better is a stronger iman. that if I have a stronger iman, my life would change for the better. But what's the way to having a strong iman? It is not enough to say, Ya Allah, give me a strong iman. This is good. The dua is really essential. But like Umar alayhi dwanillah said, اجعلوا مع دعاء العجوز شيئا من القطران. You know, Umar alayhi dwanillah, once he passed by some people that have a camel that has scabies, sickness. And he asked him, what do you normally do when that happens? They said, we know with this righteous old woman, we go to her and we ask her to make dua. And he said, this is good, but in addition to the dua, use some tar, some substance that is used normally to kill pests. In other words, both of them. Now, sometimes, of course, we think about the qatiran, we forget about the dua, or the other way around. So if I want to go back to what I was saying, if I want that iman to be stronger, I have to take the path that leads into iman. It doesn't happen on its own. You know, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us that great golden rule in Surah Al-Ankabut, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Those that struggle, this is about the self-struggle. This ayah is Makkiyah. Those that struggle for our cause with themselves, we will give them guidance. So there has to be actually a struggle. So when pursuing that balance, struggle is going to be a key component in there. If I want to achieve that balance, I have to go through that. It's not going to happen on its own. I have to pursue it. And when we're talking about that balance, by the way, it is not the same for everybody. In other words, you know, we normally like a ready-made formula. Just give me something, a formula that I can follow, you know, to the letter, and I don't have to think about it. But that's not how things go in real life when it comes to the self. So what works for you as a balance may not be the same that works for me as a balance. In other words, your balance is different than mine. However, provided that the minimal requirements are met. In other words, the obligations toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala still have to be fulfilled. Taking care of your heart, taking care of your, you know, the obligations toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, toward your family. And then after that, where that balance actually stands depends on the person. Depends on their abilities, depends on the need that they have, and all of that. But my brothers and sisters, that balance is something that we all have to take care and work toward. And the one component that really we tend to forget is really our heart. It's like somebody who spends his time, you know, polishing the shell while the pearl inside is covered with filth, and he doesn't even pay attention to it. That pearl is actually our heart, and we have to pay attention to that, especially in the midst of the different fitans and tribulations that are happening, the pressure, you know, the discriminations, all of these things, the killing everywhere, the different, you know, natural disasters. That's what the Prophet ﷺ, when he mentioned in a famous hadith in Muslim by Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, when he mentioned the fitans that will happen in a succession, tribulations. And he said, the solution is, he mentions three things. He says, فَلْتَأْتِهِ مَنِيَّتُهُ وَهُوَ يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. That you should not die except believing in Allah and the last day. So that component, the component of Iman, has to be in there. This is the most essential thing. And then a message of akhlaq. وَلْيَأْتِ إِلَى النَّاسِ الَّذِي يُحِبُّ أَن يُؤْتَى إِلَيْهِ. And then a message of activism, that you should treat people the way you like them to treat you. And the third one, وَمَنْ بَايَعَ مِنْكُمْ إِمَامًا فَأَعْطَاهُ صَفْقَةَ يَدِهِ أَوْ ثَمَرَةَ فُؤَادِهِ فَلْيُطِعْهُ إِنِ اسْتَطَاعَ. That being organized in our work, planning our work. Now, oftentimes we pay attention to the last two and we forget the first one, even though it's the most important one. That's why the Prophet started with that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why I think it is really essential that we always examine our heart and to see how we're doing. You know, we go every year or every 2 years to the doctor for a general physical checkup. We have to check our heart. That is the most essential thing. And to make sure that we don't forget that, but that doesn't happen on its own. There has to be some effort. Like I said, that just like we have the needs of the body, we have the needs of the soul. And just like the body needs different kinds of food, the soul needs different kinds of food. If you keep on feeding the body the same food, no matter how good it is to you, chicken tikka masala, shawarma, whatever it is, if you keep eating that every day, you get sick of it. And the same thing, the soul needs different kinds of food. So that's why we have the obligations, the 5 daily prayers, Whatever is as an obligation. And after that, you have a lot of sunan, a lot of nawafil, a lot of different actions that can actually still feed the heart. The dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the dua, reading the Quran, connecting with the others, all of these things. But the important thing, my brothers and sisters, is to make sure that we pay attention to the heart. Because at the end, that's really what we are. We are our heart more than we are our body. We are our body, but the most essential thing is really the heart, and that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi man wala. My brothers and sisters, another thing about the balance, if we're talking about pursuing a certain balance, the balance changes in our life. It's not the same. In other words, if I managed to have a certain formula when I was 20 years old, it's not going to be the same formula when I become 30 years old, or 50, or 60, or 80. It's going to change. In other words, we change as individuals. And as we change as individuals, the place where that balance is placed, the different components of that formula changes accordingly. That's why we're continuously learning about ourselves. We're always learning about our deen, our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just like we should be continuously learning about the worldly things. So that's why it changes. And that's part of the meaning of اهدنا الصراط المستقيم, that we repeat all the time in the salat, so many times. Guide us to the straight path. This is not only about guide us to Islam, but guide us about everything, the straight path. So whenever we're faced with any partial decision, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Which school should I go to? This one or that one? اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. What major should I actually go into? This one or that one? اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Which one should I marry? This one or that one? اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. What job? Whenever we're faced with any decision, we always refer to that. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. So that's why it becomes a dynamic concept. That whenever I face with any decision, I always ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless me choose the right path. Something that will take into account all my different obligations. This elusive balance, so to speak, that everybody actually is chasing. Achieving that magical formula, nothing magical, but actually as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet described, to achieve happiness and success in this life and in the next. And you'll find the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam managed to achieve that, of course. He was the greatest example in that. That even in matters of worship. So he said alayhi salatu wasalam, that sometimes I enter the salat, أريد أن أطيلها. I enter the salat, and in my intention, I want to make it long. So I hear some kids crying, so I shorten it out of mercy toward his mother. See, this is the balance. In other words, we cannot say, well, this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, forget everything else. No, but you're always connected, you're still connected to the world that's really around you. This is the balance that we're talking about, or an example of the balance with the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. He would help his wife with the housework. But he says that his wife said that when the call to prayer is called, as if he doesn't know any one of us. So he goes toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In other words, fulfilling each obligation. Fulfilling the obligation toward each that actually the obligation is due to. That's why, my brothers and sisters, life is a continuous learning experience. So nobody will ever reach a place where he says, oh, I know everything, this is it. I don't have to go any further than that. And you'll find the people that are actually the most learned people had that attitude. Ahmad bin Hanbal, alayhi ridwanullah, the great Ahmad bin Hanbal, shortly before his death, they found him attending, this halaqah, that halaqah, as great as he was, reading this and reading that. So they told him, some people told him that, yeah, Imam, nobody knows as much as you do. And I would slow down. And he said, مع المحبرة حتى المقبرة. He says, I will stay with the inkwell all the way until I die. In other words, learning never stops. But pursuing that, achieving the success in this life and in the next. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us recognize the truth and help us follow it. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us recognize the falsehood and help us avoid it. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make the best of our deeds, the last ones that we do, and the best of our days, the day we shall meet Him. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect the ummah of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam anywhere in the world. in Myanmar, in Syria, in Iraq, in Palestine, in Bangladesh, in Afghanistan, in Libya, anywhere where La ilaha illallah is declared high. إن الله أمرنا بأمر عميم بدأ بنفسه وثنى بملائكة قدسه فقال ولم يزل قائلا عليما حكيما إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك اللهم على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم واعلي بفضلك كلمتي الحق والدين اللهم من أراد بالمسلمين خيرا فوفقه إلى كل خير ومن أراد بهم شرا فخذه أخذ عزيز مقتدر اللهم يا واصل المنقطعين أوصلنا إليك اللهم ولا تخزنا يوم العرض عليك اللهم وارزقنا لذة النظر إلى وجهك الكريم اللهم إنا نسألك الجنة وكل ما قرب إليه من قول أو عمل ونعوذ بك من النار وكل ما قرب إليها من قول أو عمل اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات المؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات والحمد لله رب العالمين وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Straighten the lines and fill the gaps. Make sure your cell phone is turned off, please, and you turn on mute. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقدموا بين يدي الله ورسوله واتقوا الله إن الله سميع عليم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا ترفعوا أصواتكم فوق صوت النبي ولا تجهروا له بالقول كجهر بعضكم لبعض أن تحبط أعمالكم وأنتم لا تشعرون. إن الذين يغضون أصواتهم عند رسول الله أولئك الذين امتحن الله قلوبهم للتقوى لهم مغفرة وأجر عظيم. إن الذين ينادونك من وراء الحجرات أكثرهم لا يعقلون ولو أنهم صبروا حتى تخرج إليهم لكان خيرا لهم والله غفور رحيم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن جاءكم فاسق بنبأ فتبينوا أن تصيبوا قوما بجهالة فتصبحوا على ما فعلتم نادمين. واعلموا أن فيكم رسول الله لو يطيعكم في كثير من الأمر لعنتم، ولكن الله حبب إليكم الإيمان وزينه في قلوبكم وكره إليكم الكفر والفسوق والعصيان، أولئك هم الراشدون، فضلا من الله ونعمة، والله عليم حكيم. وإن طائفتان من المؤمنين اقتتلوا فأصلحوا بينهما، فإن بغت إحداهما على الأخرى فقاتلوا التي تبغي حتى تفيء إلى أمر الله، فإن فاءت فأصلحوا بينهما بالعدل وأقسطوا، إن الله يحب المقسطين. إنما المؤمنون إخوة فأصلحوا بين أخويكم واتقوا الله لعلكم ترحمون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Yeah, a couple of quick reminders for those who may have come late. One is on October 27, ISCN will have a family night with Sheikh Joe Bradford, who will speak on money talks, Islamic financing and transactions. It will be after Isha, and dinner will be served after that. And the second one, a date you need to save, on November 11. On November 11, ISCN will have a banquet and fundraiser from 6 to 9 p.m. Sheikh Yasser Qadi will give a talk, and the tickets should be on sale for this event. I think outside, if you check the resource center, there might be tickets for sale already, or starting next week, inshallah. Jazakallahu khairan.